The interest in my video on the census has been very high, and the response mostly positive. Some points of concern have been raised about the video, and this video is to answer those concerns and to clear up some misunderstandings. Firstly, I do not recommend or wish for any abuse or mistreatment of census workers. When the Census Bureau retracted their offer of a qualified spokesperson for an interview, I was given the impression that the only remaining place to turn for answers was to the census workers. There are questions that the Census Bureau apparently wishes to avoid. For that reason, I would urge all census workers to prepare themselves to answer legal and technical questions from the public as best as they can. But again, regardless of your positions on individual rights and privacy, I hope you can defend those positions without putting census workers in fear of their safety. The question that has caused the most confusion is the difference between the decennial census and the American Community Survey. I referred to both of these in the other video, although I discovered a large number of people don't realize there are different forms, and some people refuse to believe it until they actually see the form. The American Community Survey form is 12 pages long. It has 72 questions, and those questions are far more personal than the questions on the 10-year forms. One American Community Survey form contains all the pages that you see on the screen next to me here. You can print a copy of it out by going to the link on the sidebar under More Info. With very little public announcement, the Census Bureau has been conducting these surveys for a number of years. Those forms are sent to 3 million people every year. This is not a once-in-10-year program. It's every month of every year. The Constitution provides no authority for government to do this, and it happens to be that the government needs constitutional authority to do anything. There are different survey forms designed to collect very deep and specific data for numerous commercial, industrial, and social sectors. The American Community Survey form is for collecting information about individuals and their families. Once you are selected to receive the form, you may be asked to fill it out again every 6 months. Everyone is supposed to get the short form once in 10 years, but most people will get the long form as well at some point in their lives. Another concern that comes up over and over is the question of U.S. Code Title 13, which calls for penalties for failing to fill in and return your 10-year census form. Most of the confusion has arisen due to the language in the Constitution that says Congress may conduct the enumeration, quote, in such manner as they shall by law direct, unquote. This is taken by some to mean Congress can do anything they want, even if the Constitution does not authorize it. That is wrong. If that were true, there would be no need for a Constitution. In constitutional language, the word law does not mean statute. It refers only to constitutional law. Title 13 is a statute. The Constitution does not say Congress may enumerate in such manner as they shall by statute direct. It says by law. That wording simply means that any statute, such as Title 13, must be within and limited to the provisions of the Constitution. Nowhere in the Constitution does it authorize government to penalize you for not giving your private information to government. In fact, the Constitution makes special point to prohibit the government from taking your private information in the Fourth and Fifth Amendments and elsewhere. So there are serious questions about the constitutionality of Title 13. In fact, at one point, District Court Judge Melinda Harmon put a temporary restraining order on the Census Bureau for demanding private information. Over the past 100 years, the courts have not done a good job of upholding the Constitution. That's not due to any problem with the Constitution. It's due to problems with the courts. I'm not a legal advisor, and my comments are only a layman's opinion. Every one of us must decide for ourselves what the government may and may not demand from us. One final point of concern is the idea that the census data allows government to more effectively distribute benefits and programs where they are needed. To my knowledge, the federal government distributes resources by earmarks, political expediency, and in areas where the federal government wishes to gain influence. And most federal distributions are no longer discretionary anyway. Most revenues are committed to prior obligations. Any further obligations are funded 100% by debt. of one form or another and are irresponsible from the start. Because of our government's spiraling public debt, census data is far more likely to be used for the targeted generation of taxes, fees, licenses, fines, and other forms of wealth extraction than they are to be used for wealth distribution. Imagine if you knew everything the government was doing. The CIA, the NSA, Homeland Security, the IRS. Imagine the power of knowing that. Information is power. When you give up your information, you give much of your power over to others. The person in charge of your life should be you. The person using your private information should be you. You do not know what goes on in government because government no longer acts like a servant. It now acts like a security operation for itself. In a gross insult to your right to public information, you must apply for it through what they call the Freedom of Information process. Freedom is supposed to mean not having to apply for things, but government protects itself by protecting its information. You are the private citizen, government is the public agency, but government is secret and expects you to go public. Our constitutional republic has been turned upside down. Will government have the audacity to try and punish you for protecting your privacy? If they do, then there's another open question. Exactly who is your government working for? I'm Jerry Day.